Hey guys, my name is Kejriwal and today in this video I'm going to be showing you guys something different. This is called the Eagle project, Project Eagle. It's by JPL in collaboration with BlackBird Interactive. These two companies got together to make this beautiful looking simulation of a Martian colony on Mars. Who would have known? If you guys want to try it for yourself, by the way, it is available on Steam for absolutely no cost. Just create a Steam ID if you don't have it already and get started with it. Gale Crater is one of the most famous craters on Mars. So this is the colony. This is a very basic view of it. So let's start with where we came from and how we left. So these are a few launch pads. This is one of the launch pads which is currently being used, and this is another launch pad which was used before the main launch pad that we have over here. So well, again, this has a little bit of assumptions and inputs by the developers of this game, and which shows and what is happening, and that shows, and that's actually pretty interesting. Now you also have the sensor mode in this game, which would give you more information about what's happening. Just push this spacebar and you'll be sent to sensor mode, and now you see a whole different picture of this whole colony. This is the landing zone 2, and this was the original landing zone, as I already told you. So when we are on Mars, communication between Earth and Mars would be really important, not just in terms of sending and receiving signals, but also in terms of human transfers. And for that, not just humans but resources, food, supplies, all kind of stuff for making a colony on Mars. And so a launch facility is one of the most basic necessities for a place like Mars, and that's why this is so important for it. Let's just read through it. While for most colonists the trip to Mars is a one-way journey to start a new life, reusable interplanetary spacecraft can be refueled and launched from Eagle Base's launch facility. Oxygen and hydrogen fuel can be generated through electrolysis of Martian water and stored in underground fuel tanks near the launch facility. So if you realize the texts that are given alongside each and every part of this colony are pretty self-explanatory, so my requirement here is not much, but I'll still try to give you my input as to what is required and what is not. These are hab pods. Now what are hab pods? These are basically places where people can live. Okay, so it's night time now for some reason. These are like apartment complexes where the first people on Mars can reside. You can use the right mouse button to change the angle at which you see a particular thing, and you can use the left mouse button to drag along, and use the scroll button to zoom in and out of the environment. So that's that. These are the hab pods. Let's read through it. Living quarters, home for the first manned explorations of Mars. So obviously for making colonies anywhere in the entire solar system, you would need to have places to live, places you can call home, temporary or permanent. These are more like the temporary homes that they would have made in this simulation for the very first humans that landed on Mars. Right next to the landing zone, I don't know, well, that's obviously after the first landing zone came defunct, so the area around it could be utilized. These are the communication satellites, communication arrays. So as I said, alongside the supplies and human transfers, one thing which is very important is communication between Mars and Earth. Not only just Earth, if we have satellites revolving around Mars to get important data as to what next place to explore for the people on Mars, it's really important that you have a really good idea of what you're doing, so satellites can communicate through these communication arrays with the colony here and tell them about potential places where they should research upon and maybe find life on Mars. Fun fact, it takes about 4.5 minutes for a signal from Earth to go to Mars, and absolutely equal time for the signal to come back to Earth. That's when things are traveling at the speed of light. Yeah, that's how far away Mars is, and so if you have anything going on Mars, you would get to know about it. Any critical situation, people here on Earth would get to know about it not before 4.5 minutes. which is kind of risky, but that's why we need to send the best of the best people on the planet so that they know what they're doing and can make decisions on their own, not depending mainly on the people here back on Earth. These yellow arrows that you see are transportation pods. Let me zoom in on one of them. So here you see one of the transportation pods, basically to carry stuff from one place to the other, carry human beings, carry different kinds of stuff. So if you really notice it, the detail in this whole simulation is mind-bogglingly amazing. This is like a real life blueprint of a particular place, which is amazing. I really like the way it is being presented, and it's beautiful. And here we have algae ponds. The thing is that Mars's atmosphere is majorly constituted of carbon dioxide, which is highly poisonous to a human body, and so we need to find ways to convert this carbon dioxide into oxygen, which is essential for human survival. One way to do this is by algae. Algae is a really good converter of carbon dioxide into oxygen, and here they are used to to do exactly that and provide ways of human survival. If you go and see them closely, what they really are, they're just ponds filled with algae being treated, and there's a bridge structure over there which keeps stirring the water. A lot of them are obviously required to maintain a colony of about, I don't know, 50 to 100 people, so that's really important. This is another collection of hab pods, as far as I remember, and one thing that you would notice is that these hab pods are mainly under the surface of the planet. Why that is required, why that is important, is because Mars has really high radiation levels because of the sun. Well, sun has radiation levels effects here on Earth too, but here on Earth we have a magnetic field protecting us from those very lethal radiations. But on Mars, the magnetic field is really weak compared to even that of Earth, and so living under the surface of the planet is the only possible survival method if you don't want to have cancer in the long run from all of that radiation. These are some other pods, another set of algae ponds with different type of structure, some more communication areas. Let's look at one of these communication areas from up front. So these are how they're supposed to look, placed at one particular angle. As you can see, for all of these, that's probably the direction where Earth is located, so that's amazing. Again, the details on this thing is mind-blowing. I love the details. I love the way that they are being presented to us. This is one of the construction site where probably another major facility is coming up. Some more pods, construction pods, helping to make the thing come into life. Heavy industry, truck 50. Nice. This is like that one of those mini games, mini models that you make as a kid, but all of it is live, which is beautiful. I feel like a little kid right now. Talking about just one more thing before getting to the main dome is this fission reactors. The fission reactor is another very important part if you want to survive on a planet like Mars. Generating power on a planet so far away from the sun, mainly just by solar arrays, is possible, but not the most ideal case, most logistic solution if you want to have a whole society, a whole colony surviving on it. You definitely need a plan B, a more trusted source of energy production, and that's why a fission reactor is really necessary on Mars. What a fission reactor is, it basically takes one really heavy nuclei and disintegrates it into two smaller nuclei, and in this process of disintegration, energy is released, and then that energy is converted into whatever form of energy you need. So that's why the fission reactors are also important. Another argument in the favor of fission reactors, why it is really necessary on a planet like Mars, is that it can have dust storms which can engulf the whole planet, and although they are not really fierce as you might have seen in movies like Mars, they're not as fierce, but the thing is that they can cover the whole planet and the surface can be left out of the sunlight for days. So in those conditions where solar power won't be an option, fission reactors is what is going to save the colony from freezing. So again, that is really important, and right next to it, where what you see here is the landing site of Curiosity Rover. Here's some information about the Curiosity Rover landing site, and although the rover has now obviously moved to a farther location, this obviously remains a very important part, and so we have a pole designating that rover's landing site. So here you see a pole, well, pretty much remarking the fact that the Curiosity rover was here. Let's take a look at the sun if we can. Oh, there it is. This is the sun. Now let's talk about the main dome. So this is the main dome, the main part of the colony, the Eagle Dome, and as you would notice, this is just a part of a whole colony below this whole dome. As I already told you, radiation levels on Mars, because of the absence of a magnetic field, are really high. So any kind of research, if you want to save the plants or any kind of research animals or anything like that from the radiation on the planet, you would have to conduct research under the surface of the planet. The surface of the planet acts as a really good defense against the radiation levels of the sun. So that's that. Below it you see a whole set of blocks. You can also see there are underground connections between these places so that you don't even have to come to the surface, and that's another set of how things can be dealt with on Mars. So that's basically it for what this Eagle base is all about. This is a really small representation of what can be a much more complicated system. So that's that. You should definitely go check this game out, the simulation out. It's called Project Eagle. It's on Steam, and well, when you are ending this game, you can just click on launch shuttle. A shuttle would pop up and would launch into the space, bringing you into the simulation. I'm really skeptical if shuttles can be this slim, but there you go. A little bit of science fiction, I guess. And that's that. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I really enjoyed making this. If you did, do hit the subscribe button and give a thumbs up to this video, so that you can stay updated about every new content that I make. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Shubham Kejriwal, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.